All right, shalom, shalom, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good and enduring, right? And that their week went well, right? And if not, put in your prayer request, man. Put in your prayer request. Shoot us an email that we may, join you in the fast and in the prayer. Um, but other than that, we hope that everybody's doing well in the spirit. And we're gonna get straight into it. Welcome to another episode of Faith by Works, where we study a commandment week in and week out to further perfect our walk with the Most High God. However, this week it's a little different, right? It's going to be a more exhortational class. Shouldn't be a long class, but the title of the class is Foundation of Fear, right? Foundation of Fear, right? The fear of the Most High God. Understanding who the Most High God is, right? Who He is to us, right? And really perfecting our outlook on the things that we go through. The trials and the tribulations that we go through on this walk. It's very, very important that we know who He is, and really focus on what He's trying to get us to understand, rather than, going into panic mode, and looking at Him as, you know, as always punishing us, but rather looking at it as a good thing, because the things that we go through, it's all for the good. All right. So let's open it up with the book of Colossians, chapter 3, in verse 17. It says, "And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to God and the Father by Him." Right. So we glorify the Most High God by way of our speech and by way of our action. All right. This is the book of James, chapter 2, and verse 14. "What does it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith and have not works? Can faith save him?" Right. So simply saying that you have faith, that you love the Most High God, you got a relationship with Him, and you reverence Him, is that enough? Verse 18 says, "Ye a man say thou hast faith and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works." So you show forth your relationship, your reverence, your love for the Most High God by way of your works. All right. And this exhortational class works perfect in that aspect, because as soon as you highlight, all right, and understand how to fear the Most High God and how to give great reverence unto Him through your trials and tribulations, that is when you prove forth, all right, when you bring forth and you actually execute, all right, your faith by works. All right. First John 3 and 18 says, "My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth." Right. So first and foremost, we want to say, "Call Halal Yahweh by Hashem wa Malak Yahweh Shah," as giving all honor and glory to the Most High God by way of His Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So let's go ahead and set the foundation, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass it to the brother. All right. We're going to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20, and verse 20. It says, "And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that His fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not." All right. So we want to make sure that through the trials and tribulations that the Most High God puts us through, that we don't fear the trial and tribulation. We don't fear those who are oppressing us, but we rather fear Him that is bringing us through the trials and tribulation. You understand? This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 39. "See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I kill, I make alive, I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand." So we have to understand, man, that the Most High God doesn't share His power with anything, with anybody. Now He uses Yahweh Shah, right, to execute the things that He wants to be brought forth. But we understand that He shares His power with nobody else, no other thing. You can't have two masters. You can't serve money and the Most High. All right. You can't serve your job more than you serve the Most High, or simultaneously. You have to serve Him and understand that it is Him who does all things. He's the one that got you the job. He's the one that does everything for you. He's the one that woke you up. So it's important that we fear Him instead of anything that He puts us through in teaching us something. You understand? But with that, I'm going to go ahead and yield there, King. You got it.
King, mighty, mighty, mighty intro, right? Hey, all praise to the Most High. We're here another week through the grace and the mercy of our Heavenly Father, right? And this week, right, like the brother said, really exhortational, right? We really want to set the foundation of what it is that we are doing when it comes to being in this walk, when it comes to saying that we're in the truth, when it comes to saying what it is that we actually believe, right? So first and foremost, we want to start by what that classic precept, Romans 12:2, right? It says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High, right? Now, in olden times, and by olden times, I mean pretty much from our youth up, but prior to coming into this truth, right? When we thought of the Most High God, right? We were all taught that he was all sunshine and rainbows, right? And everything good that happens to us is of the Most High, and everything bad that happens to us, oh, that's the devil, that's Satan, right? And that what God and Satan are in this eternal struggle for power and all this malarkey, right? All this Greek mythology, right? Well, when we get into these scriptures, right, and we actually study and we actually seek the Most High God for ourselves, right, we understand that, hey, no, the Most High God is in control of all things, right? Satan ain't got the stones to buck up against the Most High, nor does Satan want to, right? Real quick, get the book of Job. Chapter 1 and verse 6, right? It says, now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. So right there, automatically you're seeing that Satan, along with other angels, are coming to present themselves to the Most High God, right? When you present yourself to somebody, right, you're, what's that saying we have in the world? First impressions are always lasting. Like you want to present yourself in a professional and respectable manner. When you're presenting yourself to somebody, you're not coming on no type of rah, I'm an enemy, I got smoke. You're not on that type of time, right? You're trying to make the person that you're coming before see you with favor, right? And this is what Satan is doing, right? Verse 7, and the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, though Job fear God for naught, hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance and is increased in the land, Salakia. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went from the presence of the Lord, right? So bring it back to what we were just bringing out, right? We always like to think, hey, the Most High God is all sunshine and rainbows. He does all the good, right? And when something bad happened to us, it's nothing but Satan. When you get into these scriptures, you learn that Satan is not going to move and do that bad without permission from who? The Most High God, right? The Lord, as the brother brought out, yeah, he has Yahushua do all of these works, right? Be a Messiah, right? Be a deliverer, right? But he also has workers on the left-hand side, right? Here, let me get an account on that real quick. Just came to my head. All praise to the Most High. Let's see. Where is it at? It's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 22. Right? Let me start at verse 16. Just get straight to the point the second time, right? As the king said unto him, how many times shall I adjure thee that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord? And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have not a shepherd. And the Lord said, these have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? And he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left, right? This is the prophet Micaiah speaking, right? And he's talking to Jehoshaphat and Ahab, right? Let's see what he's getting ready to tell Ahab is literally happening, right? In the heavens. Verse 20, and the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. So we see a scene that's similar to what we just saw in Job, right? The Lord is on his throne, and he has his sons in front of him and other spirits in front of him that presented themselves to him. And he's saying, hey, who's going to persuade Ahab to go up, do battle with these people and die, right? Verse 21, and there came forth the spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning thee. Right? So not only does the Most High God give the permission and authority for a spirit to come and be against you, right? He gives them the power to be successful in doing so, right? This is the Most High God. This is the God who we have to believe in, right? This is the God that we have to tremble about when it concerns him, right? We have to understand what? The book of Isaiah, chapter 45. And verse 6, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things, right? So when it comes to serving the Most High God, right, we always have to have in mind the amount of reverence that we have for the Most High God, right? Liken it to your day to day, right? We all got, well, for the most part, we all are employed somewhere, right? We don't go to our employer, our supervisor, our manager, right? And buck up against them, right? Show them any type of disrespect, right? We do the things that they tell us to do to the best of our abilities because what? We fear losing out on that job, right? We fear losing out on that paycheck, that source of income, right? Which in our minds is what's sustaining us. But as the brother brought out, the Lord provided all of these things, right? When we get in trouble at our jobs, right? We don't kind of argue back with our supervisor, right? We respond to them in meekness and in humbleness, right? And then we proceed to do the work in order to fix the situation that had our supervisor or our employer angry with us, right? Now, when it comes to serving the Most High God, who we all say we believe in, that spirit of humility, that spirit of diligence in working on what we need to work in order to fix what we need to fix, right? A lot of times we see that that's lacking, that's missing, right? But as the brother brought out, the Lord is the one that provided all of the things that we have, right? All of the things that we need, right? The Lord gave you that job. The Lord gave you that opportunity to get that paycheck. The Lord made it to where that paycheck was enough to buy the things that you needed. And we have to have these things always in the frontlets of our mind. That's why we call in this class Foundation of Fear, right? Because we have to understand that we are wholly dependent on the Most High God for every single thing, right? And we should be wholly fearful of what the Most High God will do unto us, right? If we step out of line with him, right? And I get it right there.
Right? And that goes perfectly with the next precept. Let's go into the scriptures and get an account on where the Most High basically reminds us of what He brings us through and how He brings us through it, and how the outcome was. Right? It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 35. It says, "Unto thee it was showed that thou mightest know that the Lord He is God. There is none else beside Him. Out of heaven He made thee to hear His voice, that He might instruct thee. And upon earth He showed thee His great fire, and thou heardest His words out of the midst of the fire. And because He loved thy fathers, therefore He chose their seed after them, and brought thee out in His sight with His mighty power out of Egypt, to drive out nations from before thee, greater and mightier than thou art, to bring thee in, to give thee their land for an inheritance. As it is this day, know therefore this day, and consider it in thine heart, that the Lord He is God in heaven above, and upon the earth beneath, there is none else." So we have to understand, right, from Egypt to Assyria to Babylon, right, all of these different captivities that we've been through, including the very one that we're in, we have to understand that they are all just alike. It is fire, right, to refine us, to prove us. And it is the Most High God that's doing it. He's the one behind it. And He's doing it for a purpose, that He may see Himself in us, that we may be prepared for that marriage. So we have to understand the God that we serve, man, who He is. I'm going to get another one. All right, real quick. This is the book of Psalm, chapter 100 and verse 3. It says, "Know ye that the Lord He is God. It is He that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture." And I like to bring this out for all of those who think that they can manifest things and really speak things into existence, right? And we understand via the scriptures that the power of the tongue is very sharp, right? And you have to be careful on what you say. But in no way, shape, or form, right, do we execute things with our own hand. We have no power. We are the Most High God's people. We are His children. And the Most High God has all of the power, and He shares His power with nobody else, right? And when we pray unto Him, we ask, we come in humble with meekness, all right? We ask for forgiveness, all right? We give thanks, all right? And then we make a request. We ask Him with meekness. You understand? We don't demand the Most High God for anything. And I think it's also wrong for us to get on our hands and knees, right, and with our palms facing up, and we praying unto the Most High God, expecting it to just be like that after we throw up a prayer. We have to understand that the Most High God does things at His timing. And we also have to understand is that when He brings us through things, it's important that we look to Him to see what it is He's trying to show us, right? We need to be seeking to understand the Most High and what He's communicating to us as a child. You understand? We have to move with very extreme meekness. You understand? I think that's important to really grasp and understand. So give reverence unto who the Most High God is after you know Him. All right. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is we have to change the way we look at the trials. We have to change the way we look at the things that the Most High God brings us through. All right, because a lot of times we have a negative way of looking at things. This is the book of Romans, chapter 5, and verse 3. And it's very easier said than done. I have to work on this myself, right? But all of us as a collective, right, as brothers and sisters in His truth, we have to look at trials and tribulations as a blessing. You understand? Like, because that's how you know that the Most High is dealing with you and He wants to show you something. All right, this is the book of Romans, chapter 5, and verse 3. It says, "And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope, and hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of the Most High is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit which given unto us." So when you go through these tribulations, it's important that you glorify the Most High and you take it cheerfully, because in these tribulations, all right, it increases your patience, and it works it to where you can now gain the patience and the faith in the Most High God with the experience that you're going through, and with that experience, it develops that hope, that confident hope in the Most High God, and that's when your faith actually grows, and now you're no longer ashamed, but rather confident in the Most High. So when you look at Egypt and you look at all of the other captivities, when you look at those accounts, that's the science of Romans 15:4. All right, that's the science of the very life that you're living right now, the things that you go through. It's just on a smaller scale. So all of the things that you go through, we're supposed to glorify it, because now it's the Most High God proving to you through your experience that He's with you all this time. He's with you all along. You understand? We get another one. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 2, and verse 4. It says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity." So all praise unto the Most High when you're in that lower state. And that lower state is when you absolutely have no idea what the Most High is doing. When you absolutely don't know what direction to go in. The Most High God doesn't have to explain anything to us. It's our job to simply obey and to follow. You don't have to see the door in order to walk through it. The Most High just gave you one duty. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Put one foot in front of the other in righteousness. That's it. That's your only job. Take heed to His voice, and you continuously follow that voice. All right? That's your only job. That's your only responsibility, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and yield right there, King. You got it.
I'm just gonna kind of lay me back on what brothers was bringing out, right? Here, I'm gonna start here. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 1, and verse 25. It said, "The parables of knowledge are in the treasures of wisdom," right? So the deeper sayings of knowledge, right? They come from attaining wisdom, right? It says, "But godliness is an abomination to the sinner," right? When we think about the ways of the world, right? And how the world teaches us to go opposite, right, of the wisdom, knowledge, the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, right? When the ways of the world teaches us to live in sin, basically, right? I don't have to use a lot of big words. It's pretty plain, right? Well, we have to understand that the world sees your holiness, your righteousness, right? The fear that you show towards the Most High God, the reverence that you have towards the Most High God that makes you want to change and to follow in His ways. The world will see you as an abomination, right? We know the classic James 4:4, to be a friend of the world is to be at enmity with the Most High God, right? But to be on the flip side of that, to be a friend of the Most High God, right, is to be at enmity with the world, right? It keeps going, verse 26. "If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee. For the fear of the Lord is wisdom and instruction," right? "And faith and meekness are His delight," right? So the fear of the Most High God is that foundation of getting that wisdom, right? Of attaining that, of getting those instructions to attain that godliness, right? That'll have you as a friend of the Most High and an enemy of the world, right? But you have to come to it with fear, faith, and meekness, right? Because faith and meekness is what the Lord delights in, right? On the flip side of that, the book of Sirach, chapter 10, and verse 7, it says, "Pride is hateful before God and man, and by both doth one commit iniquity," right? We can't be so prideful thinking that we can, was that a Jay-Z line? Box with the God, box with the Most High, right? We can't be so prideful. Think about it, right? For brothers and sisters that have children, hell, for brothers and sisters that have pets, right? And you try to get your pet in line or your child in line, and try to get them to do something correctly, right? Hey, go to the potty, stop pooping on the floor, right? Stop pooping on yourself, right? Go outside, this, that, and the third, right? It will be a hateful thing for that child or for that pet to kind of buck up at us when we're giving it instruction, right? But when we think about how we treat the God that we say we believe in, right? Are we not doing the same thing, right? It's an extreme lack of fear when you don't have meekness or humility. It's an extreme lack of fear when you operate in pride, right? When you can go into the precepts, when somebody goes into the precepts to correct you and to show you, hey, this is what the Lord is looking for from us. This is what the Lord wants to see in your spirit. And you say, no, that's not for me, right? Or no, I guess I'm gonna get out the truth, right? That's an extreme lack of fear. You don't understand that you are rejecting, you're spitting in the face of the king of terrors. These are things that we have to consider daily, right? Here, real quick. Trying to work out of 2 books, right? Because what does the Lord say? We're on the topic of sin or doing anything that is displeasing to the Most High. What does the Most High say? And he says it very plainly, right? This is the book of Amos, chapter 9, and verse 10. It says, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us, right? You're literally telling yourself in your heart that, hey, I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm gonna be straight. I'm gonna be fine, right? And a lot of that is all of that really is worldly doctrine. Again, that's how we were raised up. A lot of us growing up in Christian church, all we gotta do is say we believe in Jesus and everything is good. I'm gonna have a pork chop after church, right? I can be out of order with my husband, right? I can not keep the Shabbat, right? I can fornicate and be a whoremonger out here, right? I could be a drunkard, right? I can do all of these things that are against the Most High God, that are not in the spirit of the Most High God, because I told myself that, hey, I believe in Jesus. So the evil shall not overtake or prevent me. The Lord gonna kill you. I mean, it's point blank, period. The Lord's gonna kill you, right? And it's not like he's gonna step off his throne to come down here and just kind of smack you into oblivion. No, your death is going to be on some. I don't know if y'all remember the movie series Final Destination. How just it was like a whole just chain of events just kind of randomly happened to kill one person. Well, yeah, it looks like that, kind of, sort of, right? We have to be fearful of these things, right? And we also have to not be weary and well doing. We have to endure, as the brother was eloquently putting out, right? The Lord is going to put us through trials, right? Because again, we said that we want that wisdom, we want that instruction, right? Well, wisdom and instruction is always going to try us, right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 4, verse 17. It says, for at the first she will walk with him by crooked ways and bring fear and dread upon him and torment him with her discipline until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws, right? You're always going to be tried by these wisdom, but in this wisdom, right? It's just like school days, right? You're given all of these lessons, right? All of these assignments, all of these homework assignments to take home and look over and do and study to build discipline, right? But at some point in time, there's going to be a test. And in that test, you're expected to apply, right, all of the wisdom that you're supposed to have been gaining all of this time, right? Well, it's the same way with the Most High God. And he's looking for those spirits who fear him enough to not only be diligent in seeking him out, but who will be diligent and fearful and meek and humble enough to take correction and to apply the wisdom that he's given them, right? Because everybody else, those are those that say in their hearts the evil won't overtake nor prevent us, right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 11. It says, for the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins and save it in time of affliction. Right? So the Lord ain't all doom and gloom either. He's a perfect balance. Right? And he wants the good for his people. Right? But just like any good father, he'll tear that ass up if all you want to do is be prideful and do evil. Right? Verse 12, woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands in the sinner that goeth 2 ways. Nobody likes a hypocrite, right? And nobody likes somebody that is very flaky. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? Hey, all of us are going to have to be visited, right? All of us are going to have to stand before the judgment seat, and all of us are going to have to give account, right? So just like you do on your job when it's review time, and you want that pay raise, and you don't want to get fired, right? You're going to make sure that the time between the last review and this upcoming review, you were diligent in keeping yourself in the manner that's required, right? And these scriptures show you the manner that's required. Wisdom shows you the manner that's required. And these are the things that we always have to keep in mind, right? Verse 15, I'm going to pass it. It says, they that fear the Lord will not disobey his word. That's one of the things that you have to do, that you have to constantly examine, that you have to constantly meditate on before your review period comes up, right? It says, and they that love him will keep his ways. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him. And they that love him shall be filled with the law, right? So all of these ways that are pleasing to the Most High God, hey, it starts with fearing him, because fearing him is going to keep you from disobeying him. And loving him is going to make you want to do things that please him. Verse 17, they that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight, right? Hey, don't look him directly in the eye, look down, right? Real quick, let's get an account on that. Salaki, okay, I know it's time to pass it. I gotta get an account on that because you brought out that Exodus 20 and 20. I gotta go back a chapter, right? Where's it at? Well, let's get straight to the point, right? The book of Exodus, chapter 19 and verse 16 says, and it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with the Most High. And they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and the Most High answered him by a voice. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount. And the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up. And the Lord said unto Moses, go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto the Lord to gaze, and many of them perish. And lest the priests also, which come near, and the Lord sanctify themselves, lest the Lord break forth upon them. And Moses said unto the Lord, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, where thou charged us, saying, set bounds about the mount and sanctify it. And the Lord said unto him, away, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee, and let not the priests and the people break through to come up upon the Lord, lest he break forth upon them. So Moses went down unto the people and spake unto them, right? This is the scene that was going on before that Exodus 20 and 20, right? And the Lord is about to make himself known unto his people, right? He's about to show them him for the very first time, right? So when we skip over to Exodus 20, right, we read all the way down through verse 16, right, and you're getting those commandments from the Most High God. Verse 17, Salakia. But when you get to verse 18, right, it says, and all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they were moved and stood afar off. Hey, this is the Most High God we're talking about here, right? Humble yourself in his sight, right? Just him speaking had our people that were in his presence like, like, humble yourself, right? This is the creator of the heavens and the earth. This is not your homeboy on the block. This is not another mere man, a mere mortal. This is the Most High God, right? What does Yahweh Shai tell us in Matthew chapter 10 and verse 28? I promise this will be the last one, Kenny. It says, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. I bet if our forefathers and foremothers that were right there at Mount Sinai heard this, hey, they'd be like, say less. Say less. And that's the spirit that we have to carry, right? When it comes to fearing the Most High God, right? And I yield right there.
Con. I think I'm gonna just, really just finish it off with, just two more precepts, man. Letting our people know that this battle is ongoing. You understand? The brother was going into how, that love for the Most High God and that fear of the Most High God is what's very, very important. Well, it's not a walk in the park. It's going to constantly be a battle of the flesh in order to really do that and execute that. And I'm going to show you what Paul said. We're going to go to Romans chapter 7 and verse 21 through 23 in the NLT, right? And it reads, I have discovered this principle of life, that when I want to do what is right, I inevitably go do what is wrong. I love God's law with all my heart, but there's another power within me that is at war with my mind. This power makes me a slave to sin that is still within me. So there's going to always be a constant battle. All right. Your flesh is going to want to do what it feels. Your flesh is going to tell you that the pain that you're going through, like, it shouldn't be like this. It should be easier than this. Things should just go smoothly. But then you have your mind, which really wants to show that love and that fear to the Most High God and do what is pleasing unto him. It's in you, right? It's in you to really want to serve the Lord. It's in you to really envision the kingdom and the things of it. But there's something inside of you that also wants to go off. And that constant battle, how hard you go in that battle is what's going to determine if you're going to get the kingdom or not. Because you're going to go off, you're going to fall. But where's that dog in you? Where's that fight in you? Where's that ambitious, loving spirit of the Most High God so much that you continue to fight? And you continue to, block out those evil thoughts, the things of your flesh. So I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, that this battle is ongoing. It's not going to stop. As a matter of fact, it's going to actually get harder and harder as the second coming of Christ comes. Let me show you this. This is the book of Matthew chapter 12 and verse 43 through 45 in the NLT. It says, when an evil spirit leaves a person, it goes into the desert seeking rest, but finding none. Then it says, I will return to that person I came from. So it returns and finds its former home empty, swept, and in order. So that constant battle that I tell you about is constantly you purging out, right? That leavening in your spirit with fasting, getting with your sister or getting with your brother for prayer requests, so on and so forth. And eventually, you're doing good. You're doing good. It's gone. Things are going smoothly. But what's happening is that demon has fled and it's going to come back stronger. So now, say if you're fighting an anger spirit, what irritated you was your boss. The workload has increased and that person isn't understanding, so on and so forth. You defeat that demon. Now the anger demon comes back sevenfold, way more stronger. And now you're not being challenged by your boss, but now your boss and your rib and your brother. So try doing that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that it's going to continue. It's going to get harder and harder as the times pass, right? But reading on, it says, then the spirit finds 7 other spirits more evil than itself, and they all enter the person and live there. And so that person is worse off than before. That will be the experience of this evil generation. So it's only going to get harder, and the battle is ongoing. But I want you to remember that you're being measured and judged upon your fight. And that fight that's in you should be solely motivated and really driven by the fear and the love of the Most High. So title of today's lesson is The Foundation of Fear. It's the foundation of the fear of the Most High God. We have to remember that this fight that we have in this truth should be motivated on the fear of being cast off, the fear of, being a 2-time loser, the fear of, becoming reprobate, our actual candle being blown out and removed. So fear, foundation of fear, Lord willing, somebody was edified or will be edified in the coming days. We love you, Israel. Until next week, Shalom.
Hey, Shalom. Hey, Israel, read Psalm 34.
34. And what is that? Start at what?
Just start from verse 1, read the whole thing.
Yeah, Khan.
Whole thing.
Most definitely. Brother gave y'all a homework assignment. Khan. Shalom, Israel.
Shalom,